5 meals using rice from the food pantry. William Hovey Smith, 2021. Breakfast, salad, soup, main course, dessert.
Al Cole from CBS Radio, Color Me Green. Go to SoundCloud.com, do a quick search on Al Cole CBS. That's ALCOLE CBS. And find out why Al Cole from CBS Radio has colored his face green. You're going to love it. You might even want to color your face green after you find out.
What was that all about? Rice is too valued to use to feed livestock. It spread from Southeast Asia to Africa, to Europe, to the US, and Australia, and is actually grown on all continents except the Antarctic. It's probable that more rice is consumed by humans on a daily basis than any other single grain. How do you cook it? Well, in the South, often rice was a Sunday dinner thing, and it was cooked. It was served with fried chicken or whatever, usually with a gravy poured over it. And in some people's view, that's all they've ever seen of rice, which is a shame, because rice is much more versatile than that. And I'm going to illustrate that today by cooking an entire meal that is entirely rice-based, starting from salad and ending with dessert. And I have some of the components out here on the table. We have chicken, we have fish, shrimp in the freezer yet, jalapeno peppers, some ginger, onions, lettuce, tomatoes, a little sweetener, and strawberries. So stay with me and see how it's done. The first thing we're going to do is to cook the long grain brown rice and the medium grain rice and have that product already cooked and ready before we add it to other dishes. For each cup of rice, you use 4 cups of water. So you put the water in the pot first, and then add the rice and bring it to a boil, turn it down, put the lid on it, let it simmer, and till the rice finally fluffs up and actually cooks. Cut a corner off this bag so it'll pour a little better. Okay, that's 1 cup. For all practical purposes, this bag contains 2 cups of rice, which is good, okay? All right. Going to add salt. And some butter. Yay much. And in this other pot, we'll do exactly the same, but only half as much. I've rearranged the pot because I'm going to need that other stove on. Rice pots will boil over if they're cooked too fast. So I've got it on the stove at about a 7 right now on my electric stove. And when it does get to the boiling point, I'm going to turn it back to about a 4. Keeping one eye on the stove and another on what I'm doing, I'm going to be chopping this lettuce for our salad. And there's enough for our salad. In the meantime, our rices are doing very nicely. The white rice is cooking very quickly. And now is the time to turn it down still further, put a lid on it, and just let it continue to hydrate. A word about cooking knives. Now this knife I designed as a cleaver, and it is beveled on both sides of the cutting edge. And you'll notice as I chop down like this, the blade wanted to scoot off like that. For that reason, I also make cooking knives, as do others, beveled on only one side. And this is for a right-handed cook. And it is ground on one bevel, but flat on the other. This allows the cutting to go straight down, and the blade won't kick off in either direction. I'm now going to wash and chop up some strawberries for rice that'll be part of my breakfast dish this morning. I'm now going to cut up these strawberries, and you can see how much better the bevel one side blade cuts. So, cut strawberries for breakfast. Now the brown rice is likewise cooked to the point where it's risen to the top of the water surface. It's expanded that much. So now we can just turn it off and cover it and let it continue to hydrate. Like any home cook, I'm continuing to cook with what I happen to have. Now I usually have garlic, but I have only this little bit left, so I'm going to use it. And jalapeno pepper. And that will go in a couple of dishes. And we're also going to use some ginger root. Ginger root is chewy, so I need to cut it very, very fine indeed. Now ginger is also a little bit on the hot side, so you have to be careful about how much you use it, and it can vary with the freshness of your ginger root and the individual type of ginger. That background noise you hear is very heavy rain. I have 2 inches of water standing in my yard right now. But I'm on well-grained high ground, so I'm in no danger of being flooded. But some people are. This is a very bad storm. Now that's mouth crunchable, I think. And probably about enough. It's starting to smell good around here, guys. We're going to do onions, and y'all have seen me chop onions many times before, so we'll let you imagine that. Breakfast is ready. Brown rice here, strawberries. We added a small pat of butter and stir. And now, just a little bit of sugar-free syrup. And that makes a good breakfast dish. It just begs for a cup of coffee. Al Cole has done the difficult and is now trying to do the impossible. I was given these chicken breasts, and they are organically grown and fat-free, very nearly. Actually, I would have preferred to have used leg quarters with the skin on, because I do need some fat to make the soups. But we're going to cut these up and fry one breast for use in the salad, and the other we're going to boil for use in the soup. This is a glass surface, which is absolutely the worst thing to cut on, because it will dull your knife blade very, very quickly. And this meat is semi-thawed, and that's the reason it cuts so well, so evenly. So if you want to do any sort of preparation where it's important how your meat looks, you want to cut it while it's not completely thawed. And now we have a nicely diced bunch of chicken that we can let completely thaw now, and we're going to dry it before we actually fry it or boil it. I have olive oil heating in a fry pan on the stove, and we're going to make our batter. And what we've got here are 2 eggs, maybe a 1/4 cup of flour, salt, pepper, and since this is going to have a little Italian flair, oregano. Trying to hold it at an awkward angle so you can see what's going on here, but the idea is to get it all thoroughly mixed. The part of the chicken that we're going to fry can now go in the batter. And that should be enough, I would think. This is not taking very long to fry at all. Okay, those are ready. Not to waste the excess batter, that's been just poured in the pan and allowed to cook. Sort of like a pancake, but not the typical pancake. This will be a savory cake rather than a sweet one. And now we have our salad with rice and chicken bits. We're going to put a little ranch dressing on it. And see how this goes. Despite the added starch, this makes for a very light meal. This is not near as heavy as a typical Cobb salad. What about our batter bread here? What's that like? Cooked, certainly. This is not, but it has some of the characteristics of cornbread. That's how it feels in the mouth. And you can taste a little bit of the seasonings. Yeah, if you have a little egg batter left over from something like this, yeah, just go ahead and throw it in the pan and fry it. It turns out just fine. I'm an author, and all of my outdoor books contain recipes, and Backyard Deer Hunting has a particularly strong section on survival cooking. In my business books, and in particular in Make Your Own Job, Anytime, Anywhere, at Any Age, I stress formulating one's own business ideas and acting on them at different times during one's life. Al Cole has done this in spades. He toured the nation as a pop musician and songwriter and became a popular CBS radio host. He is also a classical pianist, a movie actor, and... Now that we have our salad course done, we can go ahead and start on our chicken. And we're going to start with putting the chicken in the water here. We'll want some onion. We want our little garlic here. Some jalapenos. Our ginger. Since the rice is already cooked, you do not want to add the rice now, nor if you were using raw rice would you want to add it, because as the rest of this cooked, your rice would otherwise just cook to mush, so you don't want that to happen. I've decided I want a little bit of greens in the soup, so we're going to put some lettuce in it. Now many people think of lettuce and cucumbers in particular as being just salad things, but they can also serve as cooked vegetables and do very well. So if you're wondering what to serve, or if you are blessed with too many cucumbers out of your garden, although they're gone now I suspect and everywhere in the country except in Florida, yeah, you can cook them and eat them like you would zucchini squash. They taste different, but they're also good. Everything here is cooked, but I haven't added any seasonings at all. So I want to taste it now and see what it needs for seasonings. The soup is very bland and watery, as I suspect, so it needs some butter, black pepper, and salt. The butter, salt, and pepper much improve the mix. So now we can start adding our rice. Now this is sticky rice. In short, this is a rice you could eat with chopsticks. Okay, I think that's about enough. Since everything is done, there is no need to cook anymore. Well, how is our soup course? It's good. It's not as rich as it would be if you'd made this from a whole chicken carcass. as would typically be done. After you've had your chicken, your baked chicken, then you take it and you boil the carcass and you salvage the meat, and then you use that as your basic stock, and that makes for a richer tasting soup. Using these lean breasts, this is about as good as can be had. Not the best chicken soup ever, but it's certainly edible, and better and far less salty and better for you than the typical canned chicken soups, which are way too salty. A successful business consultant. His Color Me Green concept dares to propose that men and women, those with strong opinions, and the races. Our next dish to be cooked is my take on Spanish rice. Now, I put meat in my rice, and in this case we're going to use one piece of fish I had left over and shrimp. And as you see, these are cooking in the fry pan right now. I'm going to shortly add the vegetables, to include the rest of our onions and our peppers. And more to come. Now, to top it off, I'm going to add a little chunky mild salsa to it. And turn it down again. So all I want to do now is just let the flavors mix. Doesn't really need to cook much more. Our larger pot of brown rice here is now going to become Spanish rice. Voila! That is very good indeed. I'm going to squeeze a lemon over it to give it a little more acid. But yes, this I'd be proud to serve anywhere. Can improve their own lives and solve life's hard problems by believing that they can and working towards reasonable solutions. Thus far, we have illustrated the use of the food pantry rices for a breakfast dish, for a salad, for a soup, for a main course, and now we're going to build a dessert. And we're going to use another thing from the food pantry distribution, which is Tazo. And this is a mix for making a latte, except this is actually tea-based rather than coffee-based. And the way this is usually employed is heated in a cup, and you split it with milk or something similar like this almond milk here. And we also may add an additional sugar substitute here. So we will go to our rice pot and we're going to make some dessert. Before we start heating this rice, I'm going to add the liquid. Okay. Approximately equal amounts, and stir again. Thus far, we have not stuck any rice to the bottom of the pot or burned it. And actually, some rice cooking, you actually do that, but not in this case. So now, we have it mixed, and it is still pretty solid there. And as this is holiday season, we're going to add some raisins. And some cranberries. a handful each. And mix. A little more of our almond milk here. And gently start heating at about a 4, I think, on the electric stove, or very low to medium on a gas stove. Let's see how we're doing here. Could actually use a little more of this, I think. Go ahead and use it all. That added liquid is going to plump up this fruit. As the pudding mix thickens, continue to stir, and you'll get a consistency like this. So this is about all you need to do with it. You just don't want it to start burning and sticking to the bottom, which these raisins, because they contain sugar, will do. Everyone can work together to achieve what many consider impossible. More details to be available. Watch for Color Me Green. We've now completed our food pantry rice cooking from salad to dessert. And what do we have here? We have a rice pudding that tastes sweet, and you could add other elements to it. For example, a little maple syrup on top would do good, or cane syrup. I think a little butter, and perhaps a tad more sweetener. And that would polish it off. But these are all examples of rice dishes that you can do with the food pantry rice. And there are an infinite variety of others, to be sure. You use what you have, put it together in interesting ways, adjust it as you cook, and yeah, you can come out with some really good stuff using rice as your base product. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. The advantage of doing your own cooking is that you are able to use the food resources that you have and adjust the recipes for your particular taste. For more information about my books, blogs, and nearly 900 videos, go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. To find out more about my business books, go to createyourownjobsecurity.com. To discover how my novel, screenplay, and movie project is coming along, go to fatherthegrooms.net. To see Al Cole's ad again, keep watching. Hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Goodbye and God bless.
Al Cole from CBS Radio, Color Me Green. Go to SoundCloud.com, do a quick search on Al Cole CBS. That's ALCOLE CBS. And find out why Al Cole from CBS Radio has colored his face green. You're going to love it. You might even want to color your face green after you find out.